and welcome back. This is the Daily Bulletin of Into Vietnam, brought to you by VITV channel from Hanoi. In today's headlines, major banks post strong results in the first half of 2014. Grant Thornton says Vietnam attractive to investors. And let's weigh the pros and cons of the TPP in the business report. In the first 6 months of the year, major banks in Vietnam such as Vietcombank, VITV or TP Bank posted strong business results.
TP Bank reported its profit of 263 billion dong or $12.3 million in the first half of this year, coming to 60% of its annual target. The total credit grew by 8.8%, of which lending to businesses and individuals rose by 16.3%, while deposit by individuals and organizations grew by 4.5%. Its bad debt ratio was low at 1.6%, down 0.3 percentage points against the beginning of the year. Meanwhile, Vietcombank, Vietnam's third largest joint stock bank in terms of total assets, has been assessed by Bảo Việt Securities to have made 912 billion dong or $42.8 million in net profit in the second quarter this year, up 5% on year. VITV, Vietnam's largest joint stock bank in terms of total assets, posted pre-tax profits of 2.5 trillion dong or $110 million in the first 5 months of the year. The bank's total deposits grew by 3.3% to 431 trillion dong or $20.2 billion, while the total lending went up by 2.3% to reach 396 trillion dong, while the total lending went up by 2.3% to reach 396 trillion dong or $18.6 billion. BIDV's bad debt ratio is under 2%.
The State Bank of Vietnam's Governor Nguyễn Văn Bình is planning a more flexible monetary policy in the second half of this year to achieve credit growth of 12 to 14% by the end of the year. At a conference held by the Central Bank on July the 9th, Mr. Bình announced this year's first half credit growth of 3.52%, which was largely due to a 12.03% growth in foreign credit and 2.17% growth in dong credit. The low credit growth, which has stirred concerns in recent weeks, was blamed on weak capital absorption capacity of the economy, unsold budget debts, and the process of handling collaterals, along with the loan underwriting mechanism for enterprises. In the second half, the central bank will focus on managing bad debts, raising total demand, and facilitating market recovery. Policymakers said credit demand in the second half was always twice that as in the first half. They expressed optimistic provisional reviews on the entire year's target of 12 to 14% credit growth. The report on private investment recently released by Grant Thornton Vietnam, a leading audit, tax and advisory company, said Vietnam is still a more attractive investment destination compared to other regional countries. According to the report, roughly 51% of surveyed private investors revealed they have plans to expand operations in Vietnam over the next 12 months. Despite facing challenges, Vietnam's macroeconomic stability has been improving and the economy shows positive signs of recovery. Foreign direct investment flowing into Vietnam at high levels through mergers and acquisition activities, a trend that is forecast to continue in the coming years. The report revealed that private investors were interested in Vietnam's retail market, especially for food and beverages, reasoning Vietnam is a large market of more than 90 million consumers, with steadily rising incomes, a driving force for future growth. In addition, real estate is also drawing much attention for investors, particularly in M&A activities. Negotiations on the Trans-Pacific Partnership Agreement, or TPP, are being boosted strongly and expected to come to a conclusion later this year. aimed at removing tariff and non-tariff barriers on most commodities and services. The trade pact is much expected by local firms. However, with their current capacities, will Vietnamese companies be competitive enough to sell out to a bigger world? Let's find out in the following report. On joining the Trans-Pacific Partnership, member countries will have their imported goods and services tariffs brought down to 0% tax rate. Some commodities will have their taxes reduced according to a planned roadmap. However, the ultimate goal is to remove tariff barriers of all kinds.
Theo tôi thì cái việc mà thuế suất về 0% thì nó cũng có cái lợi ích là khi hàng hóa của chúng ta đi ra nước ngoài mà nó đáp ứng được cái tiêu chuẩn của nước ngoài thì nó sẽ đi ra nước ngoài được. Ngược lại thì nếu mà chúng ta hạ thuế suất về 0% thì cái nguy cơ nhập siêu những cái sản phẩm công nghệ cao từ nước ngoài vào Việt Nam là rất có khả năng xảy ra. Cái bất lợi của các doanh nghiệp Việt Nam về sự cạnh tranh về chất lượng và mẫu mã là điều rất đáng lo ngại. Theo tôi điều đó đáng lo ngại hơn rất là nhiều so với cái việc mà chúng ta lo toan về thuế.
Some sectors projected to benefit from the TPP include exporting rice and seafoods. These are key areas of the agriculture industry and also the most competitive sectors in Vietnam.
Nay là chúng ta đang xuất khẩu gạo vào các nước và cái đối thủ cạnh tranh lớn nhất của chúng ta trong xuất khẩu gạo đó là Thái Lan và Ấn Độ. Thì Thái Lan và Ấn Độ hiện nay vẫn chưa gia nhập vào khối TPP. Nên Thái Lan và Ấn Độ chưa được hưởng những cái quy chế ưu đãi về thuế đối với các nước trong khối TPP. Thế còn nếu Việt Nam tham gia vào khối này thì ngay lập tức thì sản phẩm gạo của Việt Nam, tôi lấy ví dụ như xuất khẩu sang Mỹ là một thị trường rất quan trọng thì sẽ được giảm thuế xuống 0% và điều này sẽ tạo ra một cái lợi thế rất quan trọng đối với hàng của Việt Nam, đối với hàng gạo khi gia nhập vào khối TPP.
Như công ty cũng có một cái mảng về xuất khẩu thủy sản, tức là chế biến và xuất khẩu tôm. Thế thì cái hiệp định này được thực hiện thì cũng tạo điều kiện rất thuận lợi cho công ty tiếp cận các thị trường như là Mỹ và thị trường châu Âu. Vì cái thuế suất 0% thì sẽ giảm tương đối cái giá để cạnh tranh được với cả cái sản phẩm của các nước sở tại. Doanh nghiệp cũng biết tận dụng toàn bộ những cái công nghệ mới nhất để làm sao mà đi tắt nhanh nhất, để làm sao đưa cái sản phẩm sang nước bạn để cạnh tranh được với các nước tiên tiến.
Nonetheless, the TPP does not all bring benefits. Trade liberalization means Vietnamese goods will face fierce competition of the world commodities and services. Unless they improve their production models and labor capacities, local firms will be overwhelmed in the global market.
Càng tự do hóa bao nhiêu thì chúng ta càng thấy rằng cái vai trò của điều tiết của thị trường nó càng trở nên mạnh mẽ bấy nhiêu. Và nếu như doanh nghiệp mà không tập trung vào cải tiến chất lượng, không cải tiến về mẫu mã sản phẩm thì đó chính là cách mà doanh nghiệp tự diệt mình trước. Cho nên nếu như thay vì việc mà chúng ta trốn thuế, giảm thuế, tránh thuế để làm giảm chi phí đầu vào mà chúng ta làm giảm giá thành thì nó cũng chỉ được một ngày hai thôi, bởi vì những gì bạn làm được thì doanh nghiệp khác họ cũng có thể làm được.
Khi gia nhập TPP thì chúng ta cũng phải đối diện với lại một loạt những cái đối tác những rất mạnh trong vấn đề chăn nuôi, ví dụ như là Úc và Mỹ. Hiện nay là Úc là rất mạnh về sản phẩm sữa, Mỹ thì rất mạnh về các sản phẩm về thịt các loại. Và người ta sản xuất ở trên một quy mô lớn và hiện đại với cái năng suất rất là cao so với Việt Nam.
It sounds meaningless and time-wasting to weigh the pros and cons of the TPP on Vietnam's economy, as it is an inevitable step for the nation in its world integration process. The thing is, local firms should be fully aware of the chances and challenges to be prepared for the TPP. Otherwise, they will soon be excluded in the international market. Now let's move on the bulletin with some information from the capital city of Hanoi.
The capital attracted $560 million in foreign direct investment in the first half of the year, representing a 40% year-on-year increase. It was reported by the Municipal People's Committee on July 9th that FDI disbursement in the period also rose by 6.5% to $405 million over the same period last year. Total investment in the city between January and June was estimated at 871.1 trillion Vietnam đồng, or $41.4 billion, increasing 10.2% against the corresponding period last year. The city's budget spends 7.7 trillion Vietnam đồng or $366.7 million on development investment, meeting 44% of the whole year's target. It is added that Hanoi has been focusing on implementing ODA projects with disbursement of 1.43 trillion Vietnam đồng or $68.1 million. The city has been rushed to complete 22 key projects by 2015. With rising sales, the prices of villas and townhouses and apartments in Hanoi are also escalating in the second quarter of this year. According to a quarterly report released yesterday by Savins Vietnam Limited Company on the Hanoi property market in the second quarter, the average primary price was approximately 41.7 million Vietnam đồng, or $1,966 per square meter for villas, and 41.5 million Vietnam đồng, or $1,958 per square meter for townhouses. The highest price was in Thaio district at approximately 105 million Vietnam đồng, or $4,950 per square meter, and the lowest was in Quốc Oai at 18 million Vietnam đồng, or $850 per square meter. Experts said villas and townhouses have faced competition from private landed houses and apartments that have been sold more as they cost less.
And now it's time for some foreign trade news.
Vietnam earned $4.8 billion from exporting footwear in the first half of this year, a year-on-year increase of 21.9%. This is mainly thanks to the Generalized System of Preferences, or GSP tax, offered by the European Union from January 2014 to Vietnamese exporters. Besides, with the political stability, the abundant workforce, and the high quality of the products, Vietnam has won many contracts from foreign importers. The positive sides, along with new business opportunities, are expected to help the sector complete its export turnover target of about $11 billion in 2014. Some large Vietnamese enterprises have increased investment in upgrading technology, modernizing production chain, and developing their own brand name for export. Thanks to this, the sector's labor productivity has increased up to 30%. According to the Handicraft and Goods Industry Association of Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam's export market for wood products will enter a golden period. The forecast of the country's expansion of its global market share is based on the fact that the prices of European products have remained high, while Chinese products are being charged a high anti-dumping tax. The current environment, which has seen strong growth in the import markets of Japan and the United States, as well as that of the EU, mark a good opportunity for Vietnam wood exporters to boost their global exports. According to the Vietnam Timber and Forest Products Association, or VITForest, the exports of wood products to the United States, Japan, and the EU this year will produce growth rates of 10%, 15% and 18% respectively. Wood and timber products exports are among Vietnam's top 10 export industries. The industry is expected to earn an export turnover of $6.3 billion this year, up 10% compared to 2013.
And now let's wrap up the news with local gold prices, forex, and securities markets. Well, that's the news delivery for today. You can also log on VITV.vn to watch any of our programs. Thanks for watching and see you next time.